have, can I get a confirmation that I'm being heard? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, you are
I can
audible.
hear you.
Yes.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So thank you everyone for the feedback. Thanks a lot. Okay, so in the last class we started our conversation around the power apps, really, and then we talked about building our apps from different places. So just a quick review of what we've done so far. I would like that we mention where are or how can we begin to build our apps? What are the options? So you want to begin to build your Power App. What are the options that you have? You can start from where, and where. So let's have the ball rolling. Who is going on this? Just mention one, and others would mention others. Yeah. So we're starting.
You can start from your data.
You can start from data. Thank you. Sorry, I don't know what's correct actually. Is it data or data? Sorry.
If you understand what I meant, data.
Yeah, you said data, I said data, so I don't know. So we are not confusing ourselves, but I guess we're on the same page really. All right, so we can start from data. Yeah. So what other way can we begin to build our app? What other options do we have? If you're just starting from data, what are the other options that we have?
You can also start from a new table by Dataverse, creating a table.
Okay, partially, but that's still data. That's still data, really.
Okay.
That's still data. That's still data. Yeah. So, what are the
You
other
can start from a
alternatives or the other
template.
options? You can begin from a template, yes, and then can begin from template. You can begin from data. Then, what's the third option? Anyone remembers aside from Yinka? Who remembers what other way?
Can start from a
Is
blank canvas.
you can start from blank. Yes, you can start from a blank Canva or a blank app, so to put. So it's either you're starting from data, so your data, or you have already configured the data source, your data is sitting somewhere already, and you want to link that to your app so that you have the fields auto-populated, and then you can begin to develop your app. Or you want to leverage on the pre-built templates. We showed us some of the templates, and then we were asked to explore those templates. So you can leverage on that, use any of the templates there, modify it to what you need, meeting your requirements, and then you can proceed to build your app. Or you want to own entire control over your app by you building your app from blank. So those are the ways really to build your app. And then in the last class we mentioned, or we configured our table in the Dataverse. That was what we did in the last class. We configured it, we had a number of fields, and then we saved our table. So at this point, like I mentioned to us in the last class, that's for the sessions on Power Apps, which is supposed to go for 4 days. So today will be the day 2 of the Power Apps. Then we have 2 more days on Power Apps before we go to Power BI, or what is coming next after then. So I told us that for these sessions, it will be myself and Noye that we would be handling that. So for today, Noye would be our facilitator on what is next after we have created or configured our table in the Dataverse. How do we go next? And that is where Noye will be taking it from today. So I want to implore every one of us, let's be at utmost attention. Let's participate as much as possible. Follow through with whatever guides and whatever demo we are having today. And of course, we can always ask our questions. That's why we are here. We can ask our questions, seek clarifications. We shouldn't go on with ambiguities. So let me hand over to Noye at this time so that she takes it up from here. Hello, Noye. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Musin. Please kindly confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
All
over
right.
to you.
All right. Thank you, Musin, for that warm introduction. So welcome everyone once again to today's session. So my name is Chukunayo Kafo, and I know okay. We met ourselves in I think the first class. So today we'll be talking about how to connect the table we created in our Dataverse to build an app. So I know a lot of us created tables in the last class. I know Musin taught us how to create a table. So I would like to ask how many of us have been able to create that table? You're able to create the table during the weekend or during the week?
I was.
Okay.
Yes, I have been able to create table.
So I would like us to go back to Power Apps where we created the table, Power Apps. So I want all of us to just go back to Power Apps. Sorry. So let's say this is Power Apps. So just type Power Apps on your browser so we can look at the table that we created. It's Power Apps. Just check for Power Apps on your browser. And then the first search that comes up is a Microsoft Power Apps. So let's just click on it. Okay, thank you. Okay, then let's sign in. Let's click on sign in. So we all can remember our login details, right? The details we used to log in or sign into Power Apps. Can we all remember the details that we used to log in or sign into Power Apps?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
Yes, we do.
once you're in this interface, you can just use the hand tool to raise up your hand. So I can see only 3 hands up.
Okay, I think 5 people now. Okay, we have 7, 8, 9. So we can leave it up, please. Leave it up, leave it up. Okay, yeah. So I think we can go on now.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now we all have been able to create our table and we've been able to come to this environment, this the Power Platform, the Power Apps environment. So now what we're going to do is, remember we created a table. How many of us remember where we created a table? Like if you look at this interface now, what you have your home, you have learn, you have apps, you have create, you have data, you have flows, you have chatbots, you have AI builder, and you have solutions. So where did we go to create our table? Anyone?
Data.
Under
Data. Okay, so I want us to click on data. Let's click on that drop down, and the first thing you see is tables. So remember we created a table. So let's all click on tables. Tables. I'm sure we're all at tables now. So I remember Musin also showed us how to search for our different tables. Remember we said you have your default tables, you have your standard, you have managed and all. So I want to look at custom tables, the tables that we created during the last class. And to do that, if you look at my screen, you can see here we have different tabs. You have new table, data, Azure, Synapse Link, you have AI builder, you have default, and you have search. So I want to look for the custom table that we created. So click on this drop down and click on custom. So you see all the custom tables that you have created. So I have a lot of custom tables that I've created. I have a lot. So now to search for the table you created, after your custom, that's right beside it, you have search. So you want to search for the table that you created. So who can quickly remind us of the table that we created in the last class? The table, the name of the table.
Sales app.
Okay, so you just go to search and type sales app. You can see sales app table. Sales app table. So let's look at that table. Just want us to look at the table
Hello.
first before. Hello.
Oh, sorry
Good
to
evening.
draw you back. On my left pane, I'm seeing Dataverse rather than data, so I don't know if it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. So it depends on I think sometimes it's updated, an updated version. Oh, yes.
Okay. Data is the updated version.
I think Dataverse is.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes. So check. Do you have tables there?
Yes, I do. I've
Okay.
seen the sales app table. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hello, sorry. I from my own table now, when I click the sales app, the tables, it's telling me the tables could not be fetched, and I don't know, I've tried to reload the table.
That means it's most like what is the problem could be that most likely you didn't save that table.
You know, I saved it.
Okay, but you can't find the table.
Honestly, yeah, I just telling me when I clicked on the sales app table, and I from the columns, relationships, business rules, and all. So, but the table, I couldn't, something didn't come up. I just saw the tables could not be fetched, and I tried to reload it.
I can't hear you clearly. Can you please come back again? Please just say what you just said. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, Naya,
Yes,
I can
I
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so you said your table cannot be fetched. Is that what you're saying? Because I can't hear you clearly. It's breaking. I don't know if that's from my own end only.
I couldn't pick what he was complaining about really. So, and I'm not sure, maybe he has some internet glitch. Perhaps you can proceed. So when he's back online, we can attend to him.
Okay, so it's possible maybe he saved it under another environment. That could also be possible. So we go to default again, and you see the custom columns that I created. Remember, we created your name, your amount, your product, and your receipts. So now to create your app, remember here we have different apps. You have home, you have learn, you have apps, you have create, and we want to create our app now. So to do that, we go to create. Above data, you have your create. So just click on create. You can create. So there are different ways to do that. You can also do that from home. Also, you can do from create. So like Musin said, you can create a blank app. You can create from Dataverse, like what we want to do now. You can create from SharePoint, a SharePoint list. You can create from Excel. You can also create from SQL. So what we want to do now, we want to create from Dataverse, since we created our table in Dataverse. So what we just do is we click on Dataverse. Let's just click on Dataverse. Sorry, my screen is coming up. Click on Dataverse. So when you click on Dataverse, now it will ask you where you want to create from. The connections. Now I have CO4 at the Brown. This is my Microsoft Dataverse. You can say I have OneDrive for business. I have SharePoint. So do I want to create my app from SharePoint? Do I want to create from OneDrive, or do I want to create from Microsoft Dataverse? And since we created our app from Microsoft Data, our tables in Microsoft Dataverse, what you just do is you click on the first option. I don't know if we have other options, but for me, I have these 3 options. So I'll just click on Microsoft Dataverse to create the app. So to show you all the tables you've ever created in your Microsoft Dataverse. See a lot of tables I've created, both the custom, the defaults. You have a lot of tables here. A lot of tables. A lot of tables. So instead of scrolling and searching for the tables where you have your custom, you have your default, you have managed, you just want to look for that particular table that I created. So you can just go to your search bar here where you search, and you just type the particular table you want to work on. So I'll just type sales, and see I have a lot of tables here. I have different tables, but the one I want to use is sales app table. Sales app tables. So I'll just click on hello.
Please, on my Power Apps, it's saying I don't have any connections yet.
Same here.
Same here.
Same here too. Okay.
You don't have.
Same here.
Have you tried to refresh?
Yes, I am.
It happened. Yes. But
Yeah, you can try.
I click
Yeah,
on no
okay.
connection
New
and I click
connection,
on
yeah.
yes, and I click on Microsoft
Dataverse.
Dataverse.
Dataverse
Yes. So I'm at the default table presently.
tables.
I'm at the same page with you.
Okay. So let's all just do that. Just click on new connection. And you see a lot of connections. You can just scroll down and click on Microsoft Dataverse. So here you see you can also create apps from
I
Google
don't know,
Drive.
maybe if I have to create a connection from
You say what?
sorry, I don't know, maybe if I have to create a new connection when I click
Yes.
on connections.
Click on new connection. Have you clicked on new connection?
Yes, I've clicked on new connection now.
So can you see, look at my screen? Is this what you have when you click on new connection?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Okay,
I have.
scroll down and you see Microsoft Dataverse. So click on that Microsoft Dataverse.
I can't find it.
You can't find Microsoft Dataverse.
I can't find it.
I don't get why you can't find it. Just scroll down and check if you have Microsoft Dataverse. Do you have? But you were able to create the table. You were
There
able
are
to
many
create.
here. There are many here.
So go to where you have M. After Infomix, you have Market 2. After Market 2, you have Microsoft Dataverse.
Okay, sorry, I've seen it.
Okay, now click on it.
But I have premium, something like legacy. And
Yes,
the one
just
without
click on.
legacy.
Click on it. The one with the pyramid, I think, is the one that is premium. So just click on it. That's the one we created.
Yeah, sorry, what I'm saying, I'm so sorry. I saw one Microsoft Dataverse, and then there is some like legacy in the front of it in brackets.
No, just
So, and
click
I saw.
Microsoft Dataverse. The one that is just Microsoft Dataverse.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Should I create?
Yes, create.
Provide access to all the business.
Can't hear you.
Should I proceed
Yes.
it? I saw two options, cancel or create.
Create. Okay. So once you create, have we all gotten to this point? So you have where you
Yeah,
can select.
Okay.
So now I want to choose a table. Have we all gotten to this point? You can use the hand tool.
Sorry, they have to use my account to create it.
Your account. Yes, just do that. So the time is not on our side. So let's just do that. Just create it. Use your account to create it and then just join us. Maybe later on you can watch the recording. That. So now what we do is, remember we said we have so many tables here. So many tables that we want to work on. So we want to search for one particular table, which is our sales table. So you go to your search bar and type for sales, search for sales. Sales. And you can see the tables you have there. Like I have so many sales table. So just click on the particular one. Click on the particular table you want to work on, which is sales app table. Sales app table. And you can see now your connect button is there. You can see connect button. So you want to connect to create the app. So now we have your table and you want to connect to create the app now. So what you just do, you click on your connect. Click on connect. Mine is very fast. You can see it's trying to create the app. So just confirm if you have this on your screen also. You can just use the hand tool to confirm if you have this on your screen also. If you see loading. So let's please confirm. I can see only 5 hands up. So I want everyone to follow through because this is a crucial part where you create your app. So let's make sure we do that. I know some of us might have some lags because of the internet lag. So you can see here, welcome to Power App Studio. Start customizing your app or preview your app. Since we don't want to preview our app, we can just click on skip. Just click on skip. And now Power Apps have created kind of like a default app for us. So what they just did, they created 3 screens for us. So I'll be explaining what those screens are. So now if you look at this is your Power App Studio where you can customize your app. You can now add some pages, make your app look beautiful, make it look the way you want it to do, add some aesthetics, add some fun stuff to your app. You can even add some GIFs to your app. So now what you just do is just look at my screen now. You can see it's created 3 default screens for you. You can see here, you have 3 panes here. You have your tree view. Look at it here. Tree view. And this tree view is showing you the 3 screens Power Apps created for you. So if I just come here, let me just close it up. A browse screen. Click here, you see your details screen. So nothing is currently here. And you have your edit screen where you can fill in things. So your browse screen is just like a screen that shows you all the, let's say, all the data you filled into the app or everything that has been logged into the app. So when you see it here, for example, if someone comes and do something here, let's say someone comes and fill a data, say okay, I want to get this I want this amount of goods. You just see it here, okay, that this is the particular item here. Then your details screen will show you more details about that item, and the edit screen allows you to input data into that particular app. So yeah, this is your tree view and shows you everything. So just like you have your Microsoft Word you used to create documents, your Excel which used to create spreadsheets. This your Power Apps is used to create apps, and it has an interface just like how the Microsoft Word has interface. You have your different tabs. There you have your file, just like you have in your Word, where you can save your app. So these are some apps I've created. So you can save your apps here. So you just come here, you can save to the cloud, you can save to your computer. You have new open accounts, settings, save, share. So you can share your app when you saved it. You have media, you have variables. So let's go back. You also have your home. So now we have 3 default screens. If you want to add more screens, it's under this your home tab, you can add a new screen. So if I just click on this drop down here, you can see different type of screens. If you want to add a blank screen and customize it, you can pick a blank screen. You want to add a list, a scrollable screen, a form. You want to add a success screen. For example, you're done with your app now. You want to have a last page like you do with your, let's say, your mobile banking app. So when you're done performing your transaction, you also always know that there's a screen that's okay, this transaction is successful. So that is what you can call your success screen in your Power App. So here you can pick here and create a success screen. So when you're done, the person will navigate to the next screen and to show the person that okay, the transaction or this thing you logged into the app is successful. So you can have your calendar screen, you can choose to have a meeting screen, a portrait screen, you can choose to just have a blank screen and customize it to any type of screen you want. For example, now let me click on this tutorial screen, although I'm not using it now, I can always delete it. So now you know when you have some app, something is trying to show you it's trying to show you things about that particular app. You can see some apps here, you see some things that say, okay, this is this, then you scroll, especially when you want to use Zenda, you install Zenda maybe for the first time, it will show you some different screens where you just continue scrolling and to tell you some things about that screen. So this is what the tutorial screen looks like. Let me just try to show you. So something like this. This is what a tutorial screen looks like with the Power Apps. So let me delete it because I don't need it right now. Then you have your theme. So you can choose to change the theme of your app. So currently, this is the theme of our app, is just blue. Now you can choose to change it. So you have different colors. You can change it to, let me say if I want to change it to dark yellow, it will change. If I want to change it to this color, I can change it to this color. So you can just decide to customize your app the way you want it. But I'll just leave it like this. Just leave it like this. Then you also have insert like you do with your Excel and your Word. So here you can insert a button. So when people are done with the app, the button can just, okay, with a click of a button, they go to the next screen. So you can add a button, you can add gallery, you can add media. Like we said, you can put pictures into your app. You can even put a video there that maybe can tell them some things. You can add icons into your app. You have icons like cancel, trash. So maybe you just put some functions. By the time we start talking about functions and logic in the app, these are some things you can use. So you just put, let's say, a home icon, and then you put a formula, a function there that'll say, okay, this particular home icon should take me back to the home screen. can just put it somewhere here. It should take me back to the home screen. When I'm done with this, you can have a hamburger menu, you can have left, you can even have camera. Okay, I want this particular icon to take pictures of some certain things in my app. So that is what you can do with this your insert tab. You have your AI builder, you can use a business card reader, a form processor, object detector. Okay, I have a form processor, I have a receipt, and I want you to just pick certain things from that receipt. You can use the form processor to do that. Then you have your view. You have different things under your view also. You have action. So for your action, this is where you now use some of this. It helps you to with some of the formulas. So you have a word like navigate. Navigate is trying to tell you, okay, from our normal English, navigate, you're trying to move. You're trying to go somewhere, you're trying to navigate or move around. So navigate will help you, is a function that will help you move around your app. I want to move to the next screen, I can just put navigate to browse screen on top, maybe that particular button I'm using. When I get from inside, I want you to take me to the next screen. So you have your settings. So from your settings, you can choose to change the app color. Also here, you can change the app color, can change the icon feel here. Then you have your display. So currently our app is on a portrait. You can choose to change it to landscape for those that maybe want to use it on an iPad or so. Then you have upcoming features and you have your support. So this is what the Power Apps interface looks like. Then when you're creating your app, at the point where we start putting our functions and our formulas, when you run your app at a certain time, that's when you're testing it, because normally when you're um doing, let's say, your app development, we have the testing phase before you deploy it. So then after you deploy it, I think then you now bring people to, like, users to test it before it gets to the end user. That's the last person, which is the end user. So now you have to check your app because there might be errors. There might be bugs in that app and you're now wondering, okay, I did this thing correctly, so why am I having these errors? That is why you have something like this. Tell me. This is your app checker. See it here? Your app checker. It will check for errors in your app. It should help you check for errors in your app. So if I click on app checker now, you can see you have different type of errors. You have formulas. So if you've put a formula on a particular icon, it will show you that, okay, here for your formula, you have one error, and it will not show you the particular place where you have that error, so that you can be able to look at that error. If it's something that you need to go online and fix, then you do that. You have your runtime error. Okay, because of you've added videos, or let me say a particular picture which has like is heavy weight on the app, you notice that, okay, my app is not loading quickly, it's not fast, or it's not even loading at all. It's not that. Could be a runtime error. It could be rules, it could be accessibility, some type of errors. It could also be performance. Your app is not performing as it should be. Now then you have this icon here, which is to undo. So it's just like your Control Z. You do something on your app. Let me say you create a button, and that you don't want that particular button to be there. You can just undo using your Control Z, or you can just come here. You can just come here and you undo. Then remember, you can also redo, just like you have in your Excel. So who can tell us the shortcut for redo? To redo, maybe mistakenly
Control Y.
Control Y. So you can also do that here. So you can just use your Control Y. So it just works like your Excel and your Word interface. Then when you're done with your app, you've created your app, you've added something. So you want to see, okay, how is this my app now? I want to see how it looks like. You come here. Okay, let me ask this one question. What is the shortcut to play your PowerPoint, to do a slideshow in your PowerPoint? I know that will help us now, in case you don't want to just do it fast, the manual way. So you just want to use like a shortcut for your PowerPoint, slideshow for PowerPoint. That's the way you run your app here. Shortcut. Anyone? Anyone?
greater than
F12. No. No.
Enter.
No. Okay, let me just give us F5. F5. So with your Power Apps, when you're done creating the app, you can just use F5 to run the app, or you come here. See this icon like you have in your VLC to play or pause your movie when you're watching it. So this is the icon you use to play your app. You want to test it out. I've added some beautiful things to my app. I've done some things. Okay, I want to test the app out. What should I do? You just come here to F5. You can see it here to preview your app and see how it works. So you just click on it to share, to play the app or to preview the app that you've created. Then here, this icon here is to share the app with other users. So maybe you've saved your app earlier on, because as you're working on it, you can just use Ctrl S to save it and give the app a name. You saved your app now and you want to share it with other users. You can just come here and share it with other users. And here is learn. You want to get more support. There are some documentations that Microsoft has put out there for you to just navigate your app and do more. So you can just come here and you learn. So now let's go back to our browse screen. Let's go back to our browse screen. See the browse screen here. This is our browse screen.
See where my own is.
Okay, let's go back to our browse screen. Please let's remember to mute our mic. Where we have our browse screen. So before our tree view, we have a pane here which shows the tree view. You have a plus sign here which shows our insert also. You have this icon here that looks like a cylinder and it's showing you the data source. Remember we got our app from Microsoft Dataverse and it's showing the particular table. So you can choose to add a data source. Let's say if you're building the app from blank, you can come here and add your data. If you're building it from blank, which you'll be exploring later on, you can add your media, and here is just an advanced tool to monitor how your app is doing, to test and validate. So let's go back to our tree view. Let's go back to our tree view. Now, if you have some apps, you go to the apps and you see, okay, some apps have some background images. For example, like if you're using all these, let's say daily affirmation apps, you see that those apps have a background, let's say a picture at the background instead of what we have here, a blank canvas, let's say white canvas here. So here you can decide to change the image, the fill here, you can decide to change it. If I click on fill where you have screen, it shows you the different screens. Currently you're on browse screen. If I decide to change the fill, you can come here and change the fill and you see to change the fill of the app, but I just want to leave it blank. You can decide to add a background image, maybe an image you saved. For example, this is a sales app. You can go on Google, save a, let's say, a sales image, and you can decide to add that image to your app. Okay, I would like us to try that out and see how it goes. Let's go to Google. Let me just type for sales. Or okay, the best place to get high quality pictures, let's just type Unsplash. Unsplash. And see it Unsplash. Unsplash and enter. So now I want to start beautifying our app. Let's click on Unsplash first. And then we go to Unsplash. Just open Unsplash. And let's say we want to search for sales. Let's just search for sales. Here, I want to get a picture that depicts sales. Just choose anyone. You can decide to choose anyone. I'm looking for something I may like. Sales. I want something that is not too much. Okay, let me take this coin. I download it. And I'll save it under my download. I'll just save it as sales for app. Can save. So let's all do that. So I'll just give us some like 30 seconds to do that for those of us that may have internet issues. Okay, because of our time. So now let's click on background image. You want to bring that sales image we downloaded from Google. So let's just click on background image here. Click on background image and you can see add an image file. Let's click on add an image file. So you can decide to get your picture from when you saved it. If you saved it under download, music, pictures, videos on your desktop. So mine came to my downloads. I'll just click on download and open. 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 So now you can decide to change the image position here. You see fit. So now the picture is fitted, but want to change the image position. You can make it center. You can stretch it. You can do it as a fill or as a tile. So let's just explore. If you do it as a tile, see, still loading. Still loading. Don't know why that's taking time. Okay, let me do it as a fill. See what it looks like if I do it as a fill. If I do it as center, no, I don't like it as center. If I do it as stretch, this is what it looks like. Let me click on tile again. So maybe because tile is heavy, this is why we said you can have like a runtime error. So it's quite much. So I'll just leave it as, let's say, a fit. I think a fit is better. Fit or center. Let me say fill. Okay, I'll leave it as fill. Fill. So now we've been able to add a little design to our app now. So I want us to go to our browse screen. Just click on this icon here, our browse screen. You have your browse gallery, which is this. So it contains everything, what you've created, everything the person has put in. You see it here. So the details that have been logged into the app, you see the different icons. You can see the search icon here. It's giving you the ability to search. For example, you want to search. Okay, someone said, let's say you are the head or the manager, and the person said, okay, one of your account officers said, okay, I sold this at this amount. Maybe I sold a car, or let's say a Honda, and you want to search. So you can just come here and search, okay, Honda. Everything there that has the name Honda will come out, and you see the particular accounts officer that sold that particular car. So here you can have your text. You have your different icon. You can decide to change the icon, like I said. So that's under your insert. You can have different icons and you can add an icon. So for example, you don't like this plus icon, you can decide to change it to another icon. To have your refresh to refresh. Okay, I want to see the new things that someone has put into this app. You can just refresh and then you're able to see the new details that have been added into the app. You can have your sort. So you want to sort it very well. You want to see, okay, maybe alphabetically, you want to sort that app. Then you have your label name. So if you can decide to change this name, like now what you have here on this our browse gallery, what you have is sales app table. And I don't want to use that name. I want to change the name to, let's say, details, sales details. So if you come look at your right hand pane, the rightmost pane here, you can see label app name 1. So the label of that particular page, that screen, want to change the name, you can see text. So want to change this text name, let's say want to change it to details. Want to change it to details. So we can just say, okay, I want to change this name to sales details. I want to make this app more understandable. So this is where you format everything. At this pane here, this is your pane here, you format everything that has to do with your app. So I can just say, okay, sales details or sales history or directory, and click enter. You can see the name has changed. So you can decide to change yours also. Now, apart from that, you can decide to change the font. I don't like Tego UI. I want to use, let's say, Lato Black or Venada. I want to use Arial. I want to use Korean New. I want to use Dancing Script, Georgia. So let's say I want to use Georgia. Look at it has changed. I can decide to increase the font size. You also have some ways of formatting. Maybe you want to increase the font weight. You want it bold. You can do that. You want to underline it. You want to make it italic. You want to change the text alignment. You want to make it centered. You can do that. So these are some things you can do here. You can also decide to change the color. So you can just play around it, but our time will not permit us. But later on, you can just play around it, look at it, and see some certain things you can do with your app. So now let's go to the next screen, which is our details screen. Our details screen. Let's click on details screen. Details screen. Let's click on details screen. Please kindly confirm if you can hear me. Please, can you all hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
I
I
can
can
hear
Yes,
you.
we can.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay. I was
Yes,
seeing a
we can
warning
hear you.
concerning bad network. Okay. So now this is our details screen. See, this is the screen that gives us a whole detailed, let's say, explanation of what the person puts in. So your browse screen just gives you, let's say, a little information about the detail that have been logged in. So yeah, your details screen, you can now see everything the person has put, the name, the accounts, let's say if it's a HR app we're creating, a HR leave request app, you can ask the type of leave, the person's email, the recipient's email, the recipient's address, and everything. You can decide this icon here, decide, okay, I've seen the detail of this and I don't like it, I want to trash it. You can use this icon here to trash it. By the time we play our app, you can decide to edit it and change the information you've imputed here. So here, this is our detailed form. This is what allows us to edit all the fields in this our app. So remember from our Dataverse, there are some tables, there are some columns we created. And now what we can see here is just name and created on. Name and created on. But remember in the last class that we had some certain columns that we created. And now we want to bring in those fields here. Want to see those fields that we created. So if you look at the side where we were editing our browse screen by our rightmost pane, you can see here data source is showing you that the data source you used to create this app is sales app table. And now we want to bring in those fields, those tables that we created. So what we just do is you click on edit fields because we want to bring in those columns that we created in this particular table. So click on edit fields. I want to start customizing our app. Edit fields. Edit fields. Now we want to add those fields. So now if you remember, we didn't create a field like created on, but this is just a default field that was created for us or brought in for us by our Power Apps. So you can decide to remove a field you didn't create. You see these three ellipses here? These three ellipses. Three ellipses. Just click on it. Click on it. And you can remove a field you don't want to be there. You remove that field, so you can click on remove. So while you have name is, remember when you were creating your table, they asked you to have a primary column, and that primary column you called it name. So that is why name will always appear, or that particular primary column you create will always appear as default when you create an app. So now let's add the fields. Let's click on add fields. Add fields. So you can see some fields that were there, some default fields that are there in our table. But want to bring in the custom fields that we created, the custom fields or columns that we created. So can someone quickly remind us of those fields? So let's bring them in. Let's bring them in.
Receipt ID.
Okay, ID. So let's scroll down. Okay, receipt ID. What else?
Products.
Okay, let's tick product. Let's scroll down.
Charges.
Amounts, right? Amount.
Yes, amount.
Okay, so I think those are the four fields we just created. And then we click on add. Click on add. Click on add. So now I want to make these fields smaller. I want to collapse it and make sure, okay, we want to arrange it. So you look at these three ellipses here, call it more action, where you have your add fields, and you can click on collapse all. So you can see collapse all. Collapse all. Collapse all. And you can decide to arrange the fields the way you want them to be. Okay, for example, I want to put the amount up before the receipt. Let it be above the receipt. So just like you do in your PowerPoint where you can drag another slide above. So what you just do here, you just hold your amount and you drag it up to the line where you want it to be. So you can see I have name, I have amount, I have receipt ID, and I have product. Or I can say, okay, I want my receipt ID to come before my amount. I can just drag it up here, and then the products will be at the last line or will be the last. And we can just close here. And here we can decide to also change the name of this label here, like we did. Remember the first one we had was label app name 1, and now we have label app name 2. So I want to change it from sales app tables. Want to change this name now. So after your detail form, you have label app name 2. So see it here. Just click on it. I want to change this name. Let's say I want to call it information or details. Let's just call it sales details. Remember the first one we called it sales history. So let's just call this one sales details. Can decide to change the font. Georgia, I think that was what I used last time. Yes. And I made it bold. So now let's edit the last screen now. So let's go to our edit screen. our edit screen. Edit screen. Okay, so what we can do is that let's go on break. When we come back from break, we'll work on our edit screen. Work on our edit screen, and then we'll see how the app will look like. Let's work on our edit screen when we're back from break. So Musin, at this point, I think I'll hand over to you so we can go on break. And when we're back from break, we'll continue with building of our app and adding more things to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, now yes. So yeah, let's go on 10 minutes break. So let me see if I can get something for us. Just a moment. Let me see if I can. Okay, so let's enjoy this while we go on break. Just 10 minutes. Let's go. Not sure we heard that. Not sure. Did we?
No.
No.
Okay,
No, we
I
can't hear it.
suppose. Okay, let me go back. I think we should hear now.
Means you're trying something new.
Did we?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. All right, so let's go.
If you're about to do something for the first time, chances are high that you might embarrass yourself. But what it means is if you're willing to be the kind of person that is willing to embarrass themselves, it means you're trying something new. It means you're going for it when everybody else sits on the sidelines. And so one of the things that I would encourage you to do is that when you feel that tingling, like you're starting to hold yourself back because you start thinking about what all your friends are thinking about, that's a moment to go, oh, this is what that lady was talking about. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going for it.
Here's the key to the good life. Learn to put everything you've got into everything you do. Whatever you are doing, pour it on. It will quickly open up into opportunity or quickly disclose to you that you ought to be doing something else. The delusion is, if I had a better job, I'd really pour it on. See, that's delusion. Wherever you are, pour it on. Don't give somebody half a job for a day. Pour it on. See, that'll help change your life.
Hey, work for your potential, not your quota. If you want to stay really motivated, if you want to answer the question to why people that have already made it keep pushing, it is because they don't operate on quotas, they operate off potential. They're driven to reach their potential. This is also tied to their ethical obligation. They know what they're capable of. Nobody can tell you what you're capable of. You're the only one that knows. So work to your potential, not your quota.
So, how many of you believe in your life that your worst day can become your best day if you turn it around? I happen to believe that. That honestly, in a lot of books you read, oh, there's a seed of every adversity, there's a seed of greatness. You've all heard that before, right? But it's actually true. If you were to go back in your life, some of the greatest trials and tribulations, difficulties you've gone through have ended up producing the most beautiful things in your life. Is that true? Yes?
Even when you don't want it to be there, you can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on. And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself.
I'm telling you, if you can apply this particular principle, this is like a key that's going to unlock all doors. I need you to deal with the problem. I don't care how complex, I don't care how big, I don't care how small the problem is. The secret is in actually dealing with it.
You'll get scared sometimes. Your mind will go blank on you. Some people you will allow to unnerve you. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not crazy. That's why you've got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life.
You can be a history maker, or you can be liked by everyone around you. You can't be both. I mean, the very nature of living your personal greatness and doing something otherworldly in our world of ours means you're going to have to think differently from the majority. You're going to have to install the habits and routines that most people don't do. You're going to have to live, talk, breathe, walk, work, produce, create in a way that most people who are card-carrying members of the cult of mediocrity just don't buy into. When you look at most people out on the world today, and this is not judging, this is just reporting, but they're addicted to entertainment, they love gossiping, they're negative, they're toxic. Anyone who wants to do anything great, they want to bring them down, they dismiss the game changers, and they're just coasting through life. And so the very nature of you stepping up your game, living your greatest potential, owning your craft, dominating your field, and living a life that's legendary means you're going to have to leave the 5% and make a decision to live as very few people do.
Think about that. Now, see, I think that when you decide to take a leap and you handle the challenges that you're facing, read something about fear. That's one of the things that keeps us from beginning to live life. Here's what happened. This guy, John Rogers, wrote that. He said, when people take the courage to journey into the center of their fear, they find nothing. It is only many layers of fear being afraid of itself. And Eleanor Roosevelt said, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You're able to say to yourself, I've lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the thing you cannot do. See, that's what the volcano is. It is the thing that we cannot do. And because it is that, we must do that. Once fear is acted upon, the death of fear is certain. If you had 6 months to live, what would you do differently with your life? What would you do differently? Would you have the same job? Would you be worried about things that you're worried about right now? Would you have the same relationships? Would you have the same people in your life? If you're going through a challenge, not that you've been laid off, but the universe has given you an opportunity to find your real true making on the planet, then use that time wisely. Volunteer, give yourself away. My high school teacher, Charles L. Williams, said something I love. He said, love and happiness are like perfumes. You can't sprinkle it on others without getting a few drops on yourself. Isn't that beautiful? See, what you give is what? What you get. All right, repeat after me, please. I'm going to give my life away. Because what you give is what you get. Most people fear change. A lot of people stay in jobs where they're miserable or stay in relationships where they're miserable. Sometimes in order to begin to see the daisies in life, you've got to be willing to change cities, change friends, change relationships, change jobs. See, after a while, you get bored doing the same old thing in the same old way, day in and day out. Human beings were designed to achieve. And when you're not on a path of developing your greatness and growing and being more productive and being more effective, then your life literally becomes depressing. See, this psychiatrist talked about the fact that these people who had been on his couch for months and years, not being able to make decisions about things, but when they found out that they were dying, they got up and started making all kinds of decisions. They decided no longer to sell out. And you know what happened to me when I lost my job? You know what I think it was, what life said to me more or less? Les Brown, you know you can do more than what you're now doing. Les Brown, you have sold out. Les Brown, go home. Go in your drawer, pull out your check stubs, and see how much you've sold your soul for. See, one of the things that got me about the movie is what Joe said to his boss after the doctor told him he was going to die. He went back to work and he confronted him. He said, because I was afraid, too afraid to live my life, I sold it to you for 300.
Okay, I was almost carried away, so I hope we picked a message or two from that. We're back. Hello.
Hello, Mr.
Oh, okay, all right. So now, yeah, we're back from break. Can we proceed now?
Yes, thank you, Mosin.
Welcome.
Okay, so now we are back from break. So I want to know everyone that is back. Let's just use the hand tool to raise up our hand. To know those who are around. Toot. Okay. So let's go back to our Power Apps. So welcome back. So we've been able to work on our browse screen, on our detail screen, and our edit screen. So now we want to go to our our browse screen and our detail screen. Now I want to go to our edit screen. Remember in our browse screen, yes, on our browse screen we added an image. We didn't add one for our detail screen. We can always go back and do that, or let's just do that now. So click on your detail screen. You can remember how we added our image. So click on your detail screen, just click on detail screen. You can see background image none. You can add that same image. See it here is already here. Sales for app. You can just add that image. You can decide to make it a field. Let's also do the same for our edit screen. Go to your edit screen, background image none, where you have none. And you can decide to add that particular image. You can change the resolution. Let's quickly do that. So now we have our edit screen, and now we have our edit form. Remember our edit form? Just the same way we had our detail form, the form that shows you all the details where you can customize and bring in your fields. So now click on our edit form. You can see the same way it was displaying on our detail screen where you just had your name and created on, because our name is the primary column. We had created on our detail screen, and now we have it here also. So now I want to bring in the fields that we created. If you recall the fields that we created, and if you go to your right pane, your rightmost pane by your screen, on your screen you see edit fields. So I want to bring in the fields again. edit fields you click on the three ellipses and you remove the fields you don't need. That's the created on, we don't need that field, we remove it. And then we can add, sorry, let's mute our mic. We can add the fields that we created, the columns that we created while working in class. We created amounts, we created receipts ID, and we created products. Then click on add.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is, in the fields that we've already created before, like maybe 4 of them, at this stage, is it possible that we add more fields? Let's say we created 4 before, but now we want to create more than 4. Or must it be the same
You can go back to your Dataverse and add more fields. You can add more fields.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
After adding more fields, that's if we are to go back to our Dataverse to add more fields. Coming back to the app now, are we going to continue like from where we stop, or we're going to start afresh again?
By that time, you will have saved your app. So remember when you're creating your app, normally even the IT companies, you have different versions of your app. So now you're trying to make an improvement to your app. You already have your first version that you've saved. So what you just do, you go back to that app that you created. That's the first version you created, and you come back and you add those fields into that app again. Then you save it. If you have a new adjustment, maybe you want to add a new screen again, you add a new screen, you save it. So you just when you go to your directory, you have different versions of your app and you use the latest version. I think that's after you've published. That's when you
Okay.
can, yes. So you can always add new fields, collapse all. So we can decide to arrange it again. Let's say we want to bring our receipt ID for the amount. And let's say, for example, we want to change the name again. Remember, the label of that particular page. You can see label app name tree. Let's say we want to change it to input. Let's say we want to call it input, because once you input information there, you can just go to text and change it. Text and change it. So now let's go back to our browse screen. Let's go back to our browse screen. Let's go back to our browse screen. And now want to preview our app. We've not saved it yet. Want to preview this app and see what it looks like. So now let's see what it looks like. So remember I said you can use F5. You can use F5, or you come up here after your app checker, your undo and your redo. You can click here. So you can just click here to play your app or use your F5. This is just an interface we created. It's just like, so now we don't have any detail here. So normally, that's why when you're creating an app, you need to understand your user. When you see some apps that is like shared out, you see that there are some icons people don't understand. So when you're creating an app, you're trying to understand the user, but the person be able to navigate this app without you as the developer being there. So here you can see it's already showing refresh lists, sort list in alphabetical order. Here is to create a new item. For example, you want to create a new item because there's nothing here on our detail screen. Click on the plus sign. Click on the plus sign. And then you input your name because, okay, that's necessary. Let's say Chukunoye. Just type Chukunoye. And amount. What amount can I put? Let's say 250. And then it's asking me for the products. I shouldn't have used this picture, so you can see it's not really clear for someone that might not see. I can say mobile, and then I'll just see here submit item, or do you want to cancel the item? Submit item. And you can see it's showing everything about Noye. Okay, see the date Noye logged in this thing. So you can see it's showing you today's date and the particular time. And now you want to see the details of everything that Noye did. View details. So it will now take you to that your details screen. You can see Chukunoye, this is her receipt ID, this is the amount, and the product is a mobile phone. You just created like the 3 major interfaces or pages for your apps. You just created the 3 major face for your or screens for your app. So now we have our details screen, we have our browse screen. So now this is just like the skeleton of our app. So since we've been able to do this now, so now is already 9:50 by my time, 1 minute to 9:50. What we just do, we save our app, and in the next class we'll continue with aesthetics of our app, creating more screens, adding buttons, and trying to make the app look more presentable, an app you can share with someone. So like we have do in our Excel, we just go to file. Let's go to file. I want to save this app. We want to save this app. We want to save it to the cloud. Save the app. So give our app a name. Let's say sales directory app. Save. And then we'll save the app. So when we come back in the next session, which is tomorrow, we'll be able to continue from where we stopped. So let's save our Power Apps, 3 pages we have. So now you can see you can share and you can see all versions, like I said. So you can see this is the first version of the app we just created now. And it's telling you the time, 9:50, 53 seconds, 9 p.m. 53 seconds. So let's go back to our Power Apps. Sorry. Let's go back. So this is the app we created today. So if you go to your Power Apps, you can always still see the app there. The new app we just created today. The new app created today. If you go to Power Apps, you can always see the app. So is there any question? Question before we end the
Yes, there is.
session?
Okay, thank you, Ma. Thank you for that wonderful lecture. My question is based on the previous class. That's the one Mr. Musin taught us, and the one you're teaching us now. You know, from based on what he said there are two, basically more than 3 or 4 thereabouts. That's the default and the custom. So I want to ask, let's assume that I actually created my app using from a template, already made template on the Power Apps. And let me say I just did some little adjustments. I want to know, after saving, would that be counted under the custom or under the default?
It will be counted under your own app, like a custom app,
Under
not a template. Yes, because you're going to rename it. You definitely not use the name that they use there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ma. Then secondly, I don't want to be too forward, but I just want to know ahead of time. Let's assume that after creating the whole app, like let me assume I'm like a manager and I want to know the employees that have filled the app and all that. Is there like a special Excel file or something that all the data, all the results are submitted? Like I can just see everything on the spreadsheet or something.
Yes, when we are done, maybe in the next class, I'll show us. You go back to the end, like to the, let's say the warehouse, or let's say your engine or your warehouse in Dataverse. You see all the things that have been logged into your Power Apps. If you go to data, where you have your environment and everything, you see a place where they call data, where around where you created your table, you see data. So everything that has been logged there will be in every detail that has been filled in there. You see it there. I don't know what to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Ma.
Yes. So if you go back to your Power Apps and click on apps, you see all the apps you created. So you can see the one we created 3 minutes ago, Sales Directory app. So make sure you save it so you don't lose everything that you've done. Yes. So is there any other question before we round up? Mr. Musin?
Okay. No, yes. So thank you very much. Well done. Okay. So I have an assignment for us, and the assignment is that when we had the introductory class, I think it was mentioned there that there are a number of ways to access Power Apps. So we have Power Apps on the web. That is where we would develop our app, and that's where we've been working for some classes now. So the other platform we can use to access our app is the Power Apps mobile. So for the Android users and the iOS, so I want us to go to our Play Store or the App Store, whatever it's called. You're going to search for Microsoft Power Apps, download it on your mobile, sign in with that same credentials that you use for your environment. Sign in with that credential, the email and the password. Remember, the email would be something.onmicrosoft.com, and input your password so it locks you in, and you should see the app that you just created on that environment on your mobile, and then you can play with it. So that is what I want us to do against tomorrow. Very simple. Just download the Power Apps mobile app or your mobile. Ensure you're logged on with your credentials, and then be sure that you are able to access the app that you have developed or you have designed now on the web. So that is what I want us to explore against tomorrow before we continue from where Noye stopped now. If you have a question, we can ask in a minute or two before we close the session for tonight.
Excuse me, the app I saved is not showing on my apps. Is there any?
It's not showing on your apps. Where did you go to? Where are you trying to check it from?
From the home screen.
From the home screen.
Mine too is not showing, but I noticed it was when I refreshed, I had to now take it back to the trial environment, and it should.
Yeah. So whenever you're working on, thank you for that, David. So whenever you're working on the Power Apps, be sure of one, you're on the right environment, and also, we are working on, you are working live, yeah, so to put. So some changes that you expect, you may not see them instantly. So there might be a bit of delay. So when you're sure that you have saved your app, what is expected is just for you to reload your page. If you didn't see it under your apps, just reload your page, then you should see it. If you don't see it, still refresh, you should see it. But be sure that you saved your app. If you did not save your app and you reload that page, obviously you know what would happen. So yeah, so that's I hope that answers it.
Yes, it has shown. I've seen it.
It has shown now. Yeah, great.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. Any other question before we call it a night?
Yeah, what I want to, I would just want to remind you about the version we are using, and you shouldn't forget that it's, I think, 13 days free trial, so that we can, so that you
30
can.
days.
Oh, sorry, 30 days. Sorry. Okay, then. We still have some days left then.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. So I will try to get some, what's it called, some the procedure for us to get a developer account. So I will work on that. If we are unable to get that before the session tomorrow, then obviously I will try my best to get it across to us after tomorrow's session, but we'll get it by midweek, God willing. So I would work on that on my end. So thanks again for bringing that to for reminding me of that. Thanks a lot. Any other question? All right, so in the absence of questions, thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you very much for making it a date with us again today, day 3. That's half. So tomorrow, day 4, and gradually we are moving. So, but what I would like to just implore us to do more is to practice. Let's endeavor, as we have learned certain things now, it is important that we practice as much as we can. Practice is what would build that skill set that we so much admire. So if we do not practice, eventually after the whole course, after the number of hours we would have expended on this course, it's gonna be as though we did not learn it. So that's how some of these technologies are. So when we learn some things, please, let's just leave out an hour, 2 hours there about, practice again, think of something different from what was taught in class, do it your own way, get stuck, seek for help, and that way we'll continue to improve, and eventually would be pros on our own. So yeah, thank you very much everyone, and let's do have a restful night. Bye for now.
Okay, thank you, Musin. Thank everyone for coming. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.